So we are going to look at the scientific method worksheet. Yours is not going to be opened on Cami. You can just type right on that doc and it'll automatically save. So first of all, we're going to match each word from the word bank with its definition. The words we have are problem, research, materials, data, procedure, variable, and hypothesis. So number one, looking through books, websites, or newspapers for information on a topic. That most likely is research. I'll mark on out as we answer. Number two, the experiment, what you actually do, that would be the procedure. And feel free to pause this video or rewatch it if you need to. Number three, a list of things needed for the experiment. So what you need to actually do the experiment is the materials. Number four, always asked as a question. If you remember from the first part of the scientific method cheat sheet video, we talked about your problem is usually stated as a question. So that is problem. Number five, observations recorded and put into charts or graphs that's taken throughout your experiment. That is your data. Number six, an educated guess as the answer to the problem. That is your hypothesis. And number seven, factor that is changed during an experiment to see what will happen. That is your variable. That's the last one left, and that is the right answer. So remember, go back through these. If you want to go back and look, you can through the video, and I'll post this worksheet there for you too on Classroom to look at. So next, brands A, B, and C of hamburger meat are tested for the amount of fat in each. Each brand will be cooked for exactly 7 minutes. The same pan will be used for each test. The brands will each be drained for exactly 2 minutes by using a strainer and a measuring cup to determine the amount of fat that is drained. So the question, what would the dependent variable be? If you remember, the dependent variable is the results. It's what you try to find out with the experiment. So what are we trying to find out? A, how long it takes the hamburger meat to cook. No, it says we're going to cook it 7 minutes. If each brand is cooked for exactly 7 minutes, that makes the cook time a constant because it stays the same no matter what. B, the time it takes the pan to heat up. It's not even mentioned in there. That's not the right answer. C, the smell of the hamburger meat while cooking. Nope, doesn't mention that either, so that can't be right. So it has to be D, the amount of fat in the measuring cup after cooking, and that is the right answer. The reason that's the right answer is that is what is measured, because it tells you here the dependent variable is the result. And it tells you they're tested for the amount of fat in each, and you figure that out by using a strainer and a measuring cup to figure out how much fat was drained. So the correct answer is D. And last, each sentence below describes a step of the scientific method. Match each step with a step of the scientific method listed below. So we have A, recognize a problem, B, form a hypothesis, C, test the hypothesis with an experiment, and D, draw conclusions. So you can just go in here and you can just write A, B, C, and D. You don't have to write this out unless you just want to. So number 9, Stephen predicted that seeds would start to grow faster if an electric current traveled through the soil in which they were planted. So if you predict, you are forming a hypothesis. So that is B. Number 10, John's data showed that household cockroaches moved away from raw cucumber slices. So he's looking at his data at the end of the experiment, seeing what that tells him. So that is D, drawing conclusions. Number 11, Joe saw bats catching insects after dark. She asked, how do bats find insects in the dark? She's asking a question. We said in the first video and about the cheat sheet and just a few minutes ago that the problem was written as a question. So that is A, recognizing a problem. Number 12, Kathy used a survey to determine how many of her classmates were left-handed. She used a survey that is the same thing as testing with an experiment. So that is C. Number 13, Leo's experiment showed that earthworms move away from light. So he did the experiment, he's seen what the experiment told him. That is D, drawing conclusions. And number 14, Penny thinks that adding 2 cups of fertilizer to roses will make them bloom in 24 hours. So she thinks something. That is a hypothesis B. All right, and that is this worksheet. If you have any questions, if you're confused about anything, let me know, and we'll talk about it. We'll make sure that you understand this stuff. And if there's anything I can do for you, just let me know. Hope to see you guys soon.